We're going to be heading into some quests and wilderness areas, a little bit of lore and such like that here today. And with me as a guest for this next section of our Isle of Dread preview is Nohbob. So, hello, Nohbob. Thank you very much for being here.
Hey folks, we're so excited as a team to be able to bring you Isle of Dread. Isle of Dread is was a lot of fun to work on. We have a decent, wide array of different types of quests, types of different monsters and different things you'll get to see. Some brand new challenges, and it's super exciting. I had a great time on it. I've been playing through the content a whole bunch, just trying to get that last minute, polished through, and it's been exciting.
Great. So, the video that people are taking a look at right now is some of the Isle of Dread wilderness area. I just sort of
Yep.
popped into the wilderness and showed off some of that. I'm going to actually switch, I think, to the quests here a little bit, since that's something I think you specifically worked more on.
Yep, absolutely. I worked a bit more on the quests while we were having discussions regarding the landscape. First of all, the landscape, the folks working on it, between Flimsy Firewood did a fantastic job with it, along with Fantas at the beginning of the cycle. Like bringing that entire island to life is really it's challenging. The types of biomes and the types of shifts that they're going to do, and really what we want to do is try to take that pen and paper feel and bring it to the screen. And I think that they did a lovely job with it. I love the varied types of monsters and stuff that you'll get to see. And one of the things that I'm super excited about is there are a couple of special monsters on the landscape, and I can't wait for players to interact with them.
There's some chance people will be seeing some of these monsters here
Okay,
as
cool.
from the wilderness area, and then the quest I chose was the wild one, the one with the rabbit
The wild
dinosaurs.
thing?
So yeah, I don't. That's not one of yours, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of the ones that I'm trying to think who worked on it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the Ankylosaurus dungeon, and one of the things I love about that dungeon is it does a really good job of showcasing a wide array of our different dinosaurs and different dinosaur options. I mean, it's one of the things that when we were looking at this entire expansion, we're like, we get to make dinosaurs. All of our artists were super psyched. We're like, hey, would you? Most of the time, when you look at an artist and you're like, hey, I would like you to make dinosaurs. I can't really explain the child and glee they get when they get a chance to do that sort of stuff. And so it's great that we actually got to use them and pepper them throughout a lot of these dungeons. We have four specific dungeons which are more dinosaur themed. There's an Ankylosaurus a dungeon. Uh, and then there's a really great Tyrannosaurus dungeon, which has a couple different themes, a little more Jurassic Park feeling, and then also the Triceratops dungeon is great. And then we have one which is, if you look up above, you can see the pterodactyls and there's a whole bunch of eggs and stuff like that which are bouncing around. You don't fight any pterodactyls, but it's you kind of are going into their roost, and so it's really exciting.
All right. So, can you do you want to name a name? Is there a quest in particular that you worked on, and what
Uh,
was that like?
the two different quests that I worked on specifically for this pack were Trials of the Triceratops, and it's one of the things that was I had a lot of fun making that dungeon. One of the things that we were essentially given, or one of the great parts about getting a chance to make content for this game, is sometimes you're given an overview of a story that you want to tell, or we go back and forth and build one, and sometimes you're given sort of a design challenge. And that design challenge was okay, no, Bob, what you need to do is make a dungeon which features Triceratops. And that's what we're going to do. And then you have a whole bunch of different leeway of how do you want to bring that story or what do you want to do. In my particular case, I decided that it would be really kind of fun for there to be a really angry Triceratops. And the thing is that he's being controlled by an evil druid, which are part of the Marauders, which are essentially the evil humans, which are working for the Kopru, and they're the people which continue to follow them despite the revolt and things of that sort. And so what they ended up doing, or the story that I put together, was they ended up putting together a nice little fighting arena where their enemies get tossed back down and for their own amusement get stomped to death by a giant Triceratops, and it's real fun. It's real fun. I'm super psyched about how that came together. It's just you get a couple of specific moments which are a little bit fun, a little bit different, not what maybe you're expecting, and then you get to fight a really cool Triceratops, which Torque and our animators and everyone did a really fantastic job putting together, and that was a ton of fun.
When you're working on placement of, say, like a dinosaur in your dungeon, you know, our dinosaurs, not all of them are huge, right? You have varying sizes and all that, but it's something like when you're working in the dungeon, how do you properly make sure that it feels right to have a dinosaur in that space?
Well, it's one of those things is that when you're presented with a specific monster, be it a dinosaur, be it whatever, you have to look at the space as a whole. You're like, okay, how much space would this creature need? Or is there a story reason or a compelling reason to have it in a smaller or bigger space? Or are there gameplay aspects of this? One of the things that I wanted to do is that I knew that the Triceratops was going to be a chargy boy, like going to run people over, charge at different folks, and how can I make that fight space a little more compelling and interesting? And I was like, well, if I put that in a smaller enclosed space where players have to sort of deal with space and challenges with that, it's a little more interactive and a little more fun. And so in that particular case, we were able to, I decided to build a slightly smaller arena. There's a decent amount of space, give you a decent, an amount of dodging stuff, but it also means, what type of pieces do we want to put into the bottom of that space? Is there something which when you look at it, are there things that you can jump up on or any of that sort of thing? In this case, no, I didn't want any of that. I wanted you to have to, deal with the horrible terror of being tossed into this pit and having to fight this Tyrannosaurus, or not Tyrannosaurus, sorry, Triceratops. And
nice.
It came together pretty good.
Nice. Cool. So a little bit about people saying, does that mean we can have pterodactyl mounts? No, sorry. Nope. Similar to Fly. I guess it is worth mentioning here because we do have people who don't always know this, but DDO has some challenge with Fly because it kind of breaks the fourth wall to some extent. If you would ultimately make it, it would be very difficult to retrofit everything that we've done so far in the game into a perspective where suddenly you can basically be anywhere vertically. So,
yeah. Okay. But yeah, that is one of the challenges. Man, it would be neat, but it is not on the level of things that are going to be doing.
Yeah.
We have some really cool mounts. The Dinosaur Mount for this specific expansion is super cool. I love him. I'm running around with him on live. And one of those things is that some of the challenges that other games and we would have if we were allow players to fly is that it allows us to skip a lot of content. We use verticality as one of the aspects of challenges in this. Yep. One of the dungeons in this specific pack does a really good job of that. I'm looking forward for you folks to get a chance to check that out.
Yeah, we've actually done quite a bit of verticality over the years, but it tends to be in a very designed space for it, rather than, say, just the raw ability to cast the Fly spell or something like that. So, besides, we all know Fly is OP in tabletop. It's totally OP.
And also the steps as a content developer when you have to deal with flying and all of that sort of stuff. It is an active challenge to do while you're trying to get people to interact with space.
Yeah. We're on Twitch. We are on twitch.tv/DDO stream. This is our Isle of Dread preview, and we thank you so much for being here today. There is another Twitch streamer by the name of Voodoo Spice, and you get compared to this person frequently. And I don't know why that is exactly, but what does it bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. Voodoo's a good dude. I check out his stream every once in a while. I did think it was really funny that I happened to hop onto his stream one day when he was talking about trying to impersonate me. Maybe he would try to go to the office, and he had sort of a list of things that he was going to do to try and impersonate me. Now, granted, when I was listening to it, I was laughing because one of the things he was like, "Yeah, I would get to the office early." First of all, it is. I don't think it's a secret that we've been working from home for a decent amount of time. So showing up at the office might not be as fruitful as it could be overall.
Yep.
It would be a little more challenging to deal with any meetings or anything like that. So yeah, so that would be one thing, and then a number of the other thing is like showing up early. That really depends on the developer, but that isn't really my style. So not so much.
It is a broad, diverse world out there, but I think in general a lot of gamers tend not to be early morning people. That's too broad a statement. There's lots of gamers, I'm sure, who are.
Yeah,
but there's also a lot of us who are not. And if you work in games industry, maybe you don't have to get up early anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, one of my questions, and I mean, one of the things that you look at it is he has this magnificent beard. Are his powers locked into his beard? Like, if he shaved that to look like me, would he lose viewers? Would it be tougher to identify him on the street? Would he lose a lot of what he's looking for? So, it's a decent question.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to, I think, switch over the video to the quest one here.
Okay.
And this is the first quest. Again, this is not one that you specifically worked on, so you can't really comment on the specific quest here, but this is an example of kind of building outdoors in a dungeon space to some extent, and I know that you've had experience with that. How is that different from, say, building a city interior or a house or a dungeon, as it?
So there are a couple of different pieces which make it a little more interesting and challenging depending on the type of stuff what we're doing. The way that exterior dungeons like this one are built is it's more cut from a piece of the landscape, and it's developed as a portion of that. Like, depending on the dungeon with sort of a wider array of this, it's either done in one of two different ways. One is it's actually a fake dungeon, or it's a dungeon with a fake skybox and all this stuff, and this is really actually a dungeon, but we just happen to have a clear skybox on the back, and we have to build the entirety of the floor and everything around it. But in this particular case, I am almost certain that this is the other type, which is actually a section of landscape, which has been made into a space which is playable for players. One of the benefits for doing this is you can do a lot of stuff with far terrain view and stuff like that, and so you can see different portions and different stuff on the landscape further away. Like if there's like a creepy mountain or something like that, we can just put that on back there and don't have to do any fakery or anything like that. That gets built in as a portion of it. One of the other benefits for it is that it's just, the game needs to have a decent amount of changes in feel and space. And if we just sent you into buildings, caves, and dungeons all of the time, the game would feel really claustrophobic. And also, as a portion of telling the story of Isle of Dread, it's this magical, amazing island with all this different types of biomes, and sorry about that, a decent amount of nature surrounding everything. And so, to make you feel a part of that, it makes a lot more sense to build spaces like this. It's one of those things is when you're looking at the Brontosaurus, you can figure out kind of what you're doing. But as you can see right now, as Cordovan had played through this dungeon, you can see a couple of the different types of dinosaurs that we have, different sizes, all of that sort of thing. And it's a neat challenge. And this specific space is one of the ones that we happen to use a whole bunch of dinosaurs on, just because we want to have the opportunity and ability to sort of highlight them. And you'll also notice that sort of the difficulty of the specific dinosaurs and their skills and ability packages are essentially a little different, and they're custom. And so the way that they attack, or the way that they feel, was built between our animators and our systems folks, mostly Torque, but some other folks pitching in and helping out. It's really important.
Yeah, I tried to
See,
get
like,
some cool close-up shots of some of these combat animations. It was a little difficult to capture it properly on film here,
yep,
but
yep.
you could kind of see some of the animations as they were happening, and it was
Yeah,
pretty
you can
neat.
see that this
Yep.
guy's got a charge, he's got a knock up,
Yep.
he's got a nice big stomp and all of that sort of thing. They're a lot of fun, and this is sort of a portion of the basis of what we used for the end boss in the Trials of Triceratops, and so you get an idea of on a lesser scale, and maybe a little easier version of what you're going to face as you go on.
Yeah. All right. So you worked on 2 of the quests here, right? And
Yep.
so we're pretty much down to the getting this thing ready and getting out the door phase here, right? So,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
is it you do in these coming days before it all goes live?
Um, for the most part, what I'm doing is I'm doing whatever I can to help out. In this case, a lot of the times, what I do is I'm doing final playthroughs, see if any last thing fell through the cracks, if there's anything that we need to prioritize for fixes, for hot fixes, for patches going forward. At this point, the build is the build, and unless something horrific shows its head, um, it's a time in which we just get those last final checks to make sure there's anything that's going on, and then it's a moment to breathe and really enjoy the fact that we've put together some really cool stuff. And then on launch day, barring any meetings or anything like that, I'm an avid DDO player. I play 2-3 times a week easy, and I've got a couple of different play groups and all of that sort of stuff. And honestly, in my free time or when we have a little bit of downtime, doing planning for what's coming up next, and then uh, preparing for patches, and then trying to get my characters ready for the expansion.
And then moving on to the next thing, which I don't think
Yeah,
we're really
yeah,
ready to talk about yet. So
yeah.
we're
Not
looking
not
at
so
Isle of
much.
Dread at the moment here. So we have a producer's letter coming. That'll be happening, you know, next month or so, something like that, kind of roughly. So we'll have a little bit more to say there, but not so much today. So pretty quickly you are moving on to the next thing here while playing
Yep,
the thing you just
absolutely.
worked on. So
And it'll be interesting, hopefully one of these, sometimes we have specific, like, this is the next project we're doing, and this is sort of the long-term pack, or there's smaller bits and pieces, and it'll be interesting to see how that gets broken up.
all right, you don't work on Monster Manual, so I can't ask you the Monster Manual question, right? You're not working on
I
Monster
do not
Manual.
work on Monster Manual. However,
Yeah.
I'm sure that that'll be something that we will chat about going forward, and it's one of those things that maybe just didn't make it for this, but
Yeah.
we're
We'll
starting to
sort
build
it
a
out. So
yeah, and we're
yeah.
building a decent repertoire of them, and I'm
Yep.
excited. The wilderness area is it's big, but it's not. I'd say it's smaller than Ravenloft, but it's a decent size. Like,
Yeah.
um, I
There was
don't
a lot
have
to
the exact
cross. You just saw a
what.
bit of that on video here. That was a very small portion, really, of everything that was there that you saw.
Yeah,
So
um, but yeah, it's super exciting, and I can't wait.
all right. Well, I'm going to let you go here, Nohbob. Thank you so much for joining me. And I really appreciate you joining us here for the Isle of Dread preview. Up next, we're going to have some systems talk on. So this is when we're going to kind of get into, I think, a lot of Q&A because a lot of people have questions about various crunchy things. And so we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Like I say, I want to take a couple of minutes to make sure I get the video working correctly and everyone's comfortable and centered before we go live. I'm trying to do something fairly ambitious reproduction here today, so there you go with what's going on. But we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with a whole lot
Thanks so
more.
much for your time, guys.